Nino Brown, CFB Prime, post Oregon Ducks versus Colorado Buffaloes. Why'd you have to go and make it personal, Prime?
Some of you in the room right now, you are where you are, you're giving 60% when you have 120 in you. Why? Because you never made a decision. Those of you in this room, you already there. Your problem is this is stuff you don't want to give up to go. Listen to me, pound for pound, any agent in the room, pound for pound, motivational speaker, pound for pound, entrepreneur, pound for pound, athlete, pound for pound, weightlifter, pound for pound, whatever you do, I guarantee you when you do it, nobody can do it like you do it. The problem is you don't hardly do
it. The Ducks. The Ducks. That's what you're going to hear now, right? Because all we've heard was about Colorado. Well, my guy, Dan Lanning, came to make a statement. They're playing for clicks and we're playing for wins, right? He came out with consistent pressure on both sides of the ball. Up-tempo offense, up-tempo defense. You bring the bodies, you bring the heat until you wear them down, and then you drop 8. And that's exactly what he did. Offense had 522 yards of total offense, 282 in the air, 240 on the ground. They literally did whatever they wanted at will. 7 yards per play. All right. Let's just break it down to first downs. 30 first downs to 13 for the Buffaloes. My guy, I'm tired of pounding the table on this guy. Maybe now people will get to see and understand that Bo Nix keeps kicking in the door for the Heisman Trophy this year. Okay. Yes, he may have the most experience in college football with 50 starts, okay? But every single game he is getting better and sharpening the tools of his craft, right? He had one interception, and I will agree, that was a bad pass, okay? And you need to throw the ball upfield there. Lead that wide receiver. But he was 28 of 32 on the day. Surgical all afternoon. 276 yards, 3 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown for 4 total, right? That offensive line just said, we must protect this house. 80 overall PFF grade, 79.8 run protection grade. They had an 80 grade PFF pass pro. They kept Bodacious clean. And it was nice. You know, the modern day triple option they had there. You know, Bucky coming in, Bo breaks out, hits Casey Kelly on the left side for a touchdown. They were doing anything they wanted. But there's a play in this game before I start to break it all down that just was turn the script. Casey effing Rogers. Okay, fake punt on 4th and 18 for 4th and 4 on their own 17 for 18 yards. That was Dan Lanning whipping it out and putting it on the table. Like, we're not stopping. We're gonna run it. And we're gonna keep beating you guys up. And we have confidence in each other. And I got confidence in this offense, these special teams, this defense, right? Like I said, Bo was surgical. 23-25, under 10 yards. The tempo factor. Keep him moving. Keep him on the field. Wear him down, right? He was 2 or 3 on 20-plus yard attempts. He was 3 or 5 of 10-plus yard attempts. You know, I'm a critical guy of the A dot. So I'm going to eat it when I have to. 4.3, that ain't good, right? But I believe that was part of the game script. Keep them going. Up tempo. Run the ball at will. Throw the ball in screens. Keep them bodies moving. Don't let them sub. If they get the sub in, get them at the last point, right? On the flip side of this, Shedeur Sanders was under constant pressure all afternoon. There was no answer. There was no run game. There was no running back in protection. There was no tight end on the inline to help save it. It didn't matter. They had a 28 overall PFF grade in pass pro. Shedeur got sacked 8 times. He was getting destroyed, right? Talk with your helmet is what coach said. 23 total pressures, 8 sacks. Like I said, Shedeur had no protection. He was still 23 of 33 on the afternoon, 159 yards and touchdown, which kudos to the young man. That's second still in all of college football after an afternoon like that. Kid's balling, all right? Now, his connection with Xavier Henderson, it's growing. 9 receptions for 75 yards. And again, you guys got to, give credit where credit's due. Back-to-back games, tight end Mitchell Henderson, he's been a target, right? And this game, he had a touchdown, 3 receptions, 2 yards. But on the other side, Jimmy Horn Jr. is struggling for back-to-back games for the Buffaloes. Just killing that offense. When you're going one read only in Henderson, it's bad. The Ducks figured it out early and often. That run game, they couldn't do it. Hankerson led it with 5 attempts for 31 yards. But when you add in Shedeur's sacks, 8 sacks, you know, for negative 20 something yards, they totaled 40 yards on the day, right? So, and only 159 to the air for a total of less than 200 yards. The TD drive they had 14 plays was the longest drive. It took them down to the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter to get that done, right? Previously to that, the drive before that was 11. Everything in the first half was under 7 plays. The Ducks got in their heads right off the rip, put that tempo on, and they didn't know what to do. This, I said it for a long time. My partner KT will tell you. I said, they're not ready for the speed and tempo of the Ducks. They haven't faced a team like that. And guess what? In 2 weeks, they're going to face another team in USC. The defense isn't as good, but the speed and the tempo is just as good. I don't, this could be a reality check for the Buffs, or this could just be the downhill slide. All right. The Ducks had no problem running the ball. Substance, not flash. Bucky had 10 attempts for almost 90 yards. And for all those saying he only runs on the outside, yeah, majority of them are, but he had 3 out of those 10s on the inside run and they were positive yards. Just saying, right? Whittington, 8 for 45 and a touchdown. He had an injury. He's probably going to be out for a while. Jones came in 54 on a touchdown. He had 46 yards after contact. He averaged 7 yards per attempt. He's going to be the guy going forward. He's the bruiser. Um, they said it right. Cinderella story ends here. Sean Lewis had no answer for Tosh Lupito's defensive scheme and looks. Jordan Birch was dominant, 4 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 total pressures, right? Dorless, again, a menace in the backfield, 4 tackles, a sack, 4 total pressures. You know, Evan Williams, little bro, Evan Williams, coming in here, doing his thing, 4 tackles, 3 solo, a sack and a half, tackle and a half for loss. He had 3 targets on him, 3 receptions, but only for 4 yards. Everything was kept in front. That was the thing. We drop 8. We keep everything in front. They make the reception. We close. Kyrie Jackson was dominant for the secondary. 6 targets. Only had 2 receptions for 2 yards. They didn't even catch the ball. 3 pass breakups, and he had 3 tackles. For the Buffs, it was the same old story on the defensive side of the ball. Nothing changed. Everything we saw on film was there. Shedeur Sanders led the way again. 7 tackles. And Jordan Dominic was the pressure guy. 3 tackles and a sack on Bo. At the end of the game, it was nice. They, coaches at the, 50-yard line hugged it out, shook hands, did their thing. And Deion afterwards, he showed nothing but respect, right? I don't know if he knows Dan Lanning's name yet, but he, he did mention Bo Nix, how he was, surgical in the game, how the game plan on all the coaches were good. And shout out to Deion Jr., right? He took pictures of a couple Ducks that came up to him and asked me to take a picture. They shot up. They put this, the Shedeur pose. And Deion Jr. said they did nothing wrong. It's the nature of the game. Deion said the same thing. That was a good old-fashioned ass whooping. He said, you get us when we're at the bottom because you're not going to get many of them. And I respect that, right? But you got to respond now. The only thing that the Ducks have been doing for about a year and a half now is dominating on offense, dominating on defense. They had 2 games where they had a hiccup at the end of the season, and they started off crappy last year against Georgia. But that team's not here no more. This team is well-rounded. Troy Franklin is a dude. Gary Bryant Jr. offense is a dude, right? They just spread the ball around. Like I said, they run it down your throat. The offensive line is I know Notre Dame got a dominant offensive line, but the Ducks need more respect for what they do. Bo Nix, you better stop penciling his name in that Heisman talk. You need to. And you better stop putting Mr. Lanning's name in Coach of the Year. They got a couple games coming up. And they keep being, dominant and flashy in these games. You're going to have no choice but to put the respect on them and put them in that top 5. I'm Nino Brown. It's the CFP Prime. You know the drill. Catch me every Tuesday. We're talking. But this was an emergency. I had to go out there and air this game out. I'm tired of all these people talking, right? And as soon as it was happening at half, oh, the offensive line, they can't stop anything. Where was this talk 3 weeks ago? Where's it been when they faced TCU that had only 9 returning starters? Where was this talk when they faced Nebraska under a new regime that was absolutely terrible, didn't know what they were going to do on the offensive side of the ball, right? Where was this? Nothing. None of this was there. It was, oh, Buffalo's shiny. And then at Colorado State, oh, it's just an in-house matchup. They had to make it personal. Why are they out there on the 50-yard line scruffing up the Oregon O? Why? Why are you doing everything that you guys were complaining about? It was just like a common game right off the rip. And you could see it in Deion's face in the conference beforehand, and you could see it in the conference after. There, no names are mentioned outside of Bo Nix. He don't mention no coaching staff, nothing. He knows the deal, right? He knew not. They wanted to use Dan Lanning as bulletin board. Nah, Dan Lanning used them as bulletin board, and he fired up the troops, and they responded. CFB Prime. I'm your dude, Nino Brown. You know the drill. Blow the damn whistle.